There is roughly 1 week before the start of Operation 2 in Gears 5, and they just dropped a huge update slash patch notes today. Typically, they put them out on Monday, and if they don't put them on Monday, then it's delayed till Tuesday. But for some reason, it was delayed until Wednesday. But still, I think it was worth the wait because this update is actually looking very promising. I looked through the patch notes, and I'm going to be pointing out some of the bigger, more important things that the fans have been wanting from the beginning, and I think they delivered in a lot of these. So if you want to look at the patch notes yourself, I'm going to put a link in the description below if you want to follow along, or as I said, take a look at them yourself. But anyways, let's get right into this update because there's a lot of information. Alright, let's start off with possibly one of the bigger things being introduced in Operation 2. At least the Coalition has really been pushing for this one, and that's Free-for-All. They're bringing back Free-for-All. I believe Free-for-All was previously only in Judgment. I could be wrong though. I didn't play a lot of Gears 4 past its first year's life cycle. So as far as I know, the last time I was in a Gears game was in Judgment. But they're bringing it back, and it's going to be 14-player free-for-all. So that means it's going to be you versus 13 other people. Now, free-for-all will launch at the very beginning of Operation 2, so there shouldn't be any delays between Operation 2 and when free-for-all starts. And afterwards, it's going to make its way into ranked sometime next year. They said early January. So if you really enjoy free-for-all, you can start playing it ranked and competitively. And not only that, but it's actually going to use the core tuning, so not arcade tuning, which means that the people will have different amount of health depending on when you play arcade and when you play regular ranked game mode, which I think is a really good call. Now, along with the introduction of free-for-all, they're also going to be adding 3 new maps specific to the free-for-all game mode. There's going to be 3. It's going to be Pit, Core, and Nethercut. Now I'm going to put their descriptions up on the screen, and if you want to read their descriptions, go ahead. I recommend you go back, pause the video, whatever. However, from reading these descriptions of the maps, it sounds like it's going to be very close quarters and just constant action back and forth. Not a lot of open space for people to get lancered, as people like to complain about. So I'm actually looking forward to these maps because I really like the close, compact maps, and in my opinion, those feel like the most Gears maps. And so far, that's all we know about Free-for-All, but enough about that new game mode. Let's get on to the next point, and that is Arcade Blitz. Now this one, not too exciting. Arcade Blitz is basically going to be fast-paced, objective game modes where the point, I assume King of the Hill, the point is going to be moving rather quickly, and that's initially all it is. So it could be fun. It's going to be primarily arcade game mode, so you can play it alongside Arcade Deathmatch and in the arcade playlist. But you know, it could be fun. Probably give it a shot a couple times, but not anything too interesting. Now let's get on to something that I'm sure a lot of people have been wanting because it's a fan favorite, and that's 2v2 Nashers. The good old game mode where it's just you and a friend, or random if you decided to go along that, fighting against just 2 other people, and I believe it's always been single elimination. So once you're out, it's all up to you to clutch the game. Now, this game mode is also coming along with 2 maps specifically for 2v2 Nashers, and that's Boxes and Foundation Mid. Now, from the descriptions, again, I'm going to put them up on screen if you want to read the descriptions, but what it sounds like is that they just took a regular map, Foundation, and War Machine, which was a map from previous Gears of War games, and they've kind of limited it to only a certain section so that, again, it's really fast-paced and close quarters, which actually I'm kind of a fan of. And we do have information as to what they're going to look like, so I'll be putting the map layouts on the screen right now, and as you can see, it really is just Foundation and War Machine centered around the middle of the map, which primarily is where most of the action happens anyways. So I'm actually looking forward to this quite a lot. I'm gonna have to convince some friends to play this with me because I don't want to play with anybody random. But then again, I have come across people that carried me. So, you know, let me know what your thoughts are on this one, because I know this is a fan favorite and has been asked for even back in Gears 4 when they didn't introduce it and then they brought it back in. So there was a lot of, you know, request for fans to bring this one back, and I'm glad they actually did it, which means the coalition is listening to the community. On to the next topic, and this is another one that the community has voiced their concerns over, and again, the coalition has shown that they are at least listening, and they are giving us 4 new characters, just like they did in Operation 1. We're going to get 2 heroes and 2 villains. The first hero we're getting is Lizzie Carmine, quickly became a fan favorite after appearing in Gears 5 campaign. The second hero we're getting is Damon Baird, a staple of the game since Gears 1 and my personal favorite. And the 2 villains that we're getting, I don't think anybody even saw these 2 coming, but we're getting Dramad, which I might be mispronouncing, and we're getting the Locust Drone. So they are introducing Locust characters to Gears 5 a lot sooner than they introduced them in Gears 4. So I'm pretty sure the community has to appreciate that. I definitely do. Locust Drone, probably the most iconic Locust character. And Dramad, which I personally don't know too much about, but from the description it says that he was a close, not friend, but like worked alongside Rom. So that's fairly interesting. But the most interesting part is that the 2 hero characters, Lizzie and Baird, are going to be playable in both Horde and Escape. Previously, the COG character was the only one that was playable in Horde and Escape. The DB wasn't playable in either of them. And the initial heroes that were first introduced into the game, those were only playable in Horde, and then Scorpio Squad was only playable in Escape. However, they mentioned that Scorpio Squad will now be playable in Horde, and they will have all the abilities that they have in Escape. Again, showing that they are listening to the community. Sadly, Horde characters are not available in Escape quite yet. They did mention that Marcus is going to be coming to Escape, but so far that's the only character. Since there's way more Horde characters, I assume it's going to take them a little longer to implement them into Escape, but at least they're taking steps in the right direction. Now, while we're on the topic of characters, another pretty big one is that they hinted at Kantus. We don't know when he's coming, but they mentioned that Kantus is coming to the game in early January sometime. If not early January, then at least early 2020. So we have that to look forward to, because Kantus is another fan favorite Gears villain. Now on to the next topic. As I said, there's quite a lot in this update, and there's still a little bit more to get through. But this next one is fairly small, but still very significant, and we're getting 2 new maps. Now, I previously mentioned that Free For All was getting 3 maps of its own, and that 2v2 Nationals was getting 2 maps of its own. So that's 5 maps right there, but we're getting 2 maps that are going to be available in Versus and in Horde. These are going to be your regular maps, just like the ones that are in the regular rotation. So that's bringing up the total count of maps introduced in Operation 2 to 7. Now, the first map we're getting is All Fathers Arena, and this is a brand new original map, brand new to Gears 5, and it actually sounds rather interesting. It has a new mechanic where the center of the map actually changes, and there's different cover configurations, so that will keep this map fresh and hopefully feel like a new map every time you come and play it. So that's kind of interesting. And the second map we're getting is going to be Lift. This map was originally in Gears 4, but they're bringing it back, and they actually mentioned that they're doing quite a lot of changes to it, so it's not a one-to-one recreation of it like a lot of the other Gears 4 maps that they brought in. So it's going to be interesting and see what exactly they did to it. They do have a whole list of the changes that they implemented. However, we don't quite know exactly what it looks like, so I will put that on screen right now for you to look at. And I have stated my not disgust, but kind of my disappointment with them just rehashing old maps. I would personally like to see brand new maps, but at least they're showing that they are changing up the old maps in some way. So that is at least interesting and much better than just rehashing and bringing back a exact one-to-one replication and calling it remastered. But let me know your thoughts on these 2 new maps. Again, as I said, not a big fan that they're bringing back an old map, but excited that they are changing it up a little bit. And I'm very excited for the brand new map that they mentioned is going to be having different layouts every time you play it. Now, on to the next one. fairly small, but if you care about it, Escape is getting new tiles. I personally have never bothered to create my own escape maps, but if you're into that, you're getting new tiles, and this is at least going to, make the maps a little bit different, because at the moment they all feel very similar. So that's interesting. And the final topic I'm going to talk about, probably the one that players complain about the most, and that is the Tour of Duty. And it is getting improved in a lot of the ways that the community wanted it to change. The big thing that they mentioned is that they improved the rewards that are earnable. There are over 200 exclusive earnable items, which I think is going to be a lot longer than Operation 1, Tour of Duty system. However, they are saying that they improved the rewards you can get, like more skins, weapons, and there's going to be a lot more iron in there, and executions. Now, I don't think there was any executions in season 1, but there are now, and that is actually pretty interesting because previously the only way to get executions was to buy them. Now, not only are there going to be better rewards, but there's going to be a lot easier ways of ranking through the Tour of Duty system. Previously, the fastest way was by completing the medals, but they changed the way, or at least they changed the type of medals in the game. So it means that you don't have to specifically play Horde in order to earn those medals, because if you're not a Horde player, there really was no reason for you to go in and play Horde unless you wanted those medals. But they've broadened the range of the types of medals you can earn, which means you can stay away from Horde and specifically play Versus and still make quite a significant way through the Tour of Duty system, which I think is actually a really smart call, because I personally don't really care about Hive much, but I did play a lot of it just to get those 6 specific medals. So again, as I said, I think it's a really smart call that they're doing this. The next big thing that I think is going to improve the way you earn medals, or at least earn stars. So in that aspect, it hasn't changed. You still have to earn stars in order to rank through the Tour of Duty system. However, earning stars is now much easier, and they mentioned that it's going to be a lot easier with Boost. Now, previously, the only way to get double stars was to wait for special events that usually happened on Saturdays and Sundays. But now, if you have Boost, you're going to be earning double stars all the time as long as you have Boost. Now, this does seem like a way for them to sell more Boost, but at least it actually has some practical use to it, and it doesn't feel like a waste anymore. And the final thing about the Tour of Duty system is that they are changing the daily objectives. They are going to be significantly different, but as they are introducing new ways for you to earn stars, there are going to be a broader range of daily objectives that you can get in order to progress towards the Tour of Duty system. So that means that you won't be getting a lot of duplicate daily objectives, and they won't become stale and boring, quite as quick as they did in Operation 1. Now, that's about all the information we have so far, not just regarding the Tour of Duty, but as a whole. They do mention that next week, during Title Update 3, they're going to go into more detail about the Tour of Duty system, which a lot of us are, I would assume, waiting patiently to hear more about that. And not only are we going to get more information about the Tour of Duty system, but we're also going to get more information about the characters that are going to be coming. So previously, the way to unlock characters was through totems. Some people hated them, some people said they were okay, some people didn't have a problem with them. And they're going to mention how exactly you're going to be able to unlock these new characters. So I assume it's going to be a slightly different process, but I think they're going to change it in a way that the majority of the community is happy with. And that is all the information we have right now. I think it was worth the wait. Usually they put these up on Monday, but I think it was worth waiting till Wednesday because this was a lot of information to take in. Again, if you want to take a look at it yourself, because I didn't go through everything specifically, I just kind of went over the main points that I care about. But if you want to take a look at it yourself, there's going to be a link in the description below. And as always, if you enjoyed my content, please leave a like, subscribe. It really helps a lot. And hope you all have a good one. Catch you all next time.